Good evening, respected HOD Mrs. Anusha Pai, speakers and fellow students. Greetings from Girls Group Verna and ACE chapter. Today's workshop, Financial Literacy, Improving Understanding, Creating Opportunities, is in association with Girls Group Verna. Girls Group Foundation is India's first and biggest tech community, which is working to change lives by impacting tech education and relevant skills. I hope you guys take something away from today's session. Financial literacy is the knowledge necessary to make important financial decisions. It can help with decisions on budgets, debt, and investing. To break down this extensive topic, we have the founders of Vitaverin with us. Vitaverin is a financial literacy initiative that aims at creating a behavioral change in the expense management techniques for three stratas of the society. The company also convenes networks to bring together financial institutions, colleges and universities, and some of the largest corporations to leverage insights and connections to drive impact. Now, I would like to invite Husna to introduce the respected speakers. Over to you, Husna.
Our first speaker is Satyam Chandra, who is currently working as a manager at Cipla Global Excel. He has also been actively involved in organizing campaigns and food drives, worked for various health and education awareness campaigns, and has helped and nurtured the underprivileged section of our society to achieve their dreams. Our next speaker is Ruchika Hirna, who is a resource associate at Euromonitor International. She has worked with major telecom operations in building network capabilities and infrastructure design across multiple informational locations. Our third speaker is Smith Shah, who is a communication trainer in Macmillan Education, India, for high school students for Project, Spo- Project Spoken English, a special project launched by Delhi government and partnered by British Council. He has also organized and conducted multiple events and training sessions and worked with different stakeholders to establish and mentor two new Toastmaster clubs. He was the communication trainer in Teach India project for the final year diploma students. Our fourth speaker is Prachi Sharma, who is a seasoned financial leader with years of experience in financial advisory and human resources. Having cleared CF final, she is also our HR business partner at Cipla and an inner circle leader. Lastly, we have our final speaker, Manali Amitav, who is a, who is a highly motivated, goal-driven financial analyst skilled in collecting, monitoring, and studying data to analyze the financial status. She is an analyst at Crystal, skilled in fundamental analysis, technical analysis, financial services, research, equity trading, and tech savvy in use of Excel or Python for financial management. They will provide us today with an information section as they share with us valuable lessons on financial planning and management. Over to you, Rashi.
Thank you, Husna. Once the event is over, we will send you all the link of the quiz in the chat box as well as display it on the screen to test your knowledge on financial literacy. On answering all the questions correctly, you will be eligible for a merit certificate. So let's get started and explore the field of financial literacy with Satyam, Ruchika, Smith, Prachi, and Manali. Over to you all.
So, hello everyone, and thank you so much, Team Girl Script. That it was an awesome introduction for all of us. Thank you everyone who have joined us in and on this in this noon, and we are very glad to connect with such a young crowd and such a dynamic crowd, and we are very excited to give you the knowledge that we have gathered through our experiences and we in the when we were of your age and we are still very young, we all are young and it's a long way to go, so let's get started. So Satyam, are you there? Over to you. What is financial literacy? We have all heard about this term. It's not a new term for us, and these are two and if we break down these two words, it is made of financial and literacy. So literacy, as we know, is anything that we can read, write and understand. right? But when it comes to finance, money, then how can we literate about our own money, our own resources, our own assets, and use them for our wealth creation is something called financial literacy. So let's get forward. And with that aim, Vitavaran was started. Vitavaran started as an initiative at Ashoka University when all five of us came together, and we saw one very, like we can say, a small problem with but with a big effect, and that was the low income individuals in our university and all around our universities wherever we went. They had 10 to 15,000 of income, and what will happen of that income at the end of the month? Because of their expenses of their family, it was going down. There was no savings, nothing. And because these were the employees who were basically of housekeeping staff or something like security or anything, but they didn't have the access to what can be the right scheme for them, what can be the right bank account for them, and they didn't know except for the salary account, and that too they used to encash through their ATMs, and then the money used to go away. So we made them save, and when we made them save, we said that, what will you do now with that money? So we made the bank come to them. We made them go into some schemes. We made them go into institutionalized schemes where they can manage their savings into insurance products or Jan Dhan Yojana accounts or pension schemes. So this is how we started filling up the gaps to use your money wisely and to save your money wisely and to invest your money wisely, irrespective of any income. And I am talking about these 500 plus families that we connected with in the last year. And the story is just continuing right now. I cannot tell you how this has happened for us. So this was my reason to start this with our, and now I will go to my co-founders who will tell their stories of Vitavaran. And I will tell you, everyone has their own reasons about this, but the aim remains same. So over to Manali.
Sorry, I was on mute. Hi everyone, can you all hear me? Um, okay, looks good. So my primary motive of coming on board with Vitavaran and the idea of starting a financial literacy initiative, especially at Ashoka, was that the sheer gap of the lack of financial literacy, even in individuals of our age group, even in individuals who are doing white collar jobs, blue collar jobs, everywhere, it was immense. And the more we see around us, the more we realize that more work needs to be put in this direction. And that was my sole motive of getting on board with this idea. And personally, I'm a CFA level 2, and I'm currently working as a financial analyst at Crystal.ai, which is a Singapore-based startup that deals with wealth management. And I hope I can give you some glimpse of money management and wealth creation in this session. Thank you so much.
So this was me, and now we have Ruchika. Ruchika, are you there?
Yes. Hi, everyone. So I'm Ruchika. I'm working as a research associate with Euromonitor International, and I'm otherwise a computer science engineer, and I've worked for 2.5 years in IT and consulting. Coming from a good professional experience, for the past 2 years at least, I just worked and accumulated money, but never thought about growing it. It is not something that I did not want to, but I did not know how to go about it. So I think something like this is very essential for people who might not necessarily belong to the financial sector or have a financial background, a background in economics, but it is something of a very basic, knowledge that needs to be incorporated in for all of us. And so this is something very dear to me, and would love to share my knowledge with you, and would love to learn from you
Okay, so thank you for such a warm introduction that you gave me. But between those introductions lied a lot of interesting stories that were there. So I'm an engineer by degree who graduated in 2016. I worked for a couple of years in a manufacturing company in Jaipur, but within a year, I realized engineering is not really my cup of tea. And without any thought, I just thought of leaving my job and finding what I wanted to do. And that risk kind of turned my life upside down because once I stopped working, I had no source of income. For I guess a year and a half, I didn't have any stable source of income. And that's when I realized, okay, money is one of the most important topics that we have in our life. And yet we don't learn it in school, we don't learn it in college. So this is something which brought me closer to the theme and towards this initiative, which we started back in Ashoka University. And with today's session, I'd like to share a couple of stories, a couple of interesting things that I did that helped me survive that period. Satyam, are you there?
So as Smith told that we are gonna share the stories, and we are not here to just bore you with some okay, what is the investment, what is saving, but give you the knowledge with us with a very experienced and experiential storytelling. And that's how we have always conducted our sessions, because we know, as we sit on the other side, that it is not knowledge but knowledge with fun. So what we need you from you is a smile on your face, exciting curiosity that you are gonna learn something which is so useful, and just have fun. Okay, so over to you, Smith. Time for a poll. So I would like Smith to take over. Over to you, Smith.
Sure. Thank you very much, Prachi. I hope you guys can see the link on the screen. It's a very short link. I request all of you to please go to that link and enter the code that's given. And there are very two short questions, okay? It's not even question, it's just a one-word answer. I want you guys to fill it.
So someone says fulfilling dreams, someone says necessity and luxury, someone says financially independent, freedom. Freedom is the key word. So a lot of you have typed in freedom. So it is the big word here. Security, comfort, wealth, everything, problems, way of living, privilege. Cool. We get the idea. Okay. Let's come to the second question. What do you see yourself doing post-engineering? 7 of you have said jobs. 9 of you have said self-employment or entrepreneurship. That is crazy good. And 8 of you are planning to go abroad to study, or no, not abroad, planning to study higher, maybe in India or abroad. Okay, great. Prachi, can you share your screen again?
Yes, Satyam. Thank you so much for the poll results. And as we reflect on these results, Satyam, I am sharing the presentation.
So sorry guys, this is Satyam. You guys were, so I was trying to reach out to you guys a couple of times, but I wasn't able to because of some issues at my end. I literally stay on a hill, an isolated hill in Darjeeling, West Bengal. So my network really gives me a lot of trouble. But okay, just a quick intro on me. I did my engineering too in electrical and electronics engineering. That was in 2016. I went on to work with a telecom company, Reliance Jio, for 3 years. And that's when things happened. So I had this bug of entrepreneurship. I always wanted to be a businessman. Okay. I saw people. So I thought that people with money or people doing good things or big things are the people who do business. So the first step I took was after 6 months of saving, I bought a car. I bought a second-hand car and I put it into a company for Ola Uber. Second month, I bought another car, and then I kind of like used 3 of my credit cards to get all my cars there because I had like a fixed set of income. Say I had around a lakh and a half, and then I used all my credit cards, and that was the first mistake, guys. So I went all in because I saw everything as numbers. I quantified everything. I thought, if this is the number of man hours I'm putting in, this is the number of people that are involved in this, I have the number of cars, everything. So you see, I had everything in mind. But one thing I was lacking was the proper financial literacy, to be very honest. Okay, because you have to consider a lot of things, and you don't go all in. Wise men have said to diversify. So I didn't do that. And that's the reason 3 years down the lane, I realized a lot of stuff, took a break from job and went on a 1 year long fellowship just to explore different ideas, to learn a lot. And then things clicked, and there was it was literally in an elevator that, I met one of, there's this bank called Ujjivan. I met one of her founders, and she was just like, you should look into this sector, financial literacy, and people are. And then she gave me a number. She said 70% of India is still, involved in unorganized banking sector. And I was like, what is unorganized banking sector? And that blew my mind, because organized banking sector is banks, the normal thing that we understand. And unorganized banking sector is sahukars, the local money lenders. And guys, do you have any clue that, these local money lenders take an interest up to 175%, like 175%. If you go for a normal personal loan to a bank, they'll charge you like 12%, 13% for a personal loan. I'm just giving an idea, okay? Yeah, so that's me. And that's how I met the 4 others. And then we started this a year and a half back, and it has been growing good. So yeah, I'll not waste your time, and let's move forward. So
yeah, Satyam, so this was our story. So we have more stories. So yeah, coming
so
around.
yes, the first thing that we would want you to is, we would want you to introduce to 4 of our characters. The first character is Kabir. So Kabir wants to study ahead. He wants to, like the 8 of you that wants to study ahead. Second is Naina. She wants to work. She just wants to get a 9-to-5 job. She wants to earn. She wants to become a VP, a senior VP, a director, grow on. Let's come to the next character. She is Aditi. She's fun. She's bindash. She's open to all kinds of possibilities, and she's undecided. She has no clue. Like the most of us in engineering. That's Aditi. And this is Avi. He is an entrepreneur. He wants to open a bar. And so I guessed Goa, and then, Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, and, there was the perfect Sangam. So that's Avi. So coming to the next slide. So we'll be taking these examples with you later. I just want you to keep these characters in mind, okay? Prachi, can you just go one slide back? Okay, just to reiterate, Kabir wants to study ahead, Naina wants to work, Aditi is fun, bindas, open to possibilities, and Avi is an entrepreneur. We even saw questions coming in that, you want to start up something in Goa or start up something anywhere. How do you go about it? Okay, fine, we'll come to them. Just keep these characters in mind. Coming to the next slide. So first of all, let's do a small activity. So we all have dreams, right? So the PS5 is launching. So I know my dream is to get the PS5, or maybe the new Java Perak has launched. It's a 1-seater bike, or maybe you wanted this dress of yours that's like or a camera of yours. So what I want you to do, you guys, is all the people present here. I can see there are 40 of us here. So all of you think of the simple goals that you want to achieve, and then add them in your mind to a sum of money. Say I want a bike, say a 2 lakh rupees bike. I want a camera 50,000, and I want to go on a trip, say 3 years down the lane. Not 3 years down. Let's keep it fancy, okay? So say 5 years down the lane, I want to go and do my honeymoon in Maldives, and I'm going to spend like 2 more lakhs. So I have 4.5 lakhs of, that's my goal, 4.5 lakhs. So you get the game, you get the gist. So I want you all guys to have some 3-4 goals in mind. The big ones, not the small ones, like, getting an ice cream the next night. No, not that. The big goals. So just think of these numbers, add them in your mind. Okay. Estimate the amount and just keep it in your mind ready. Manali will have a small activity regarding this later in the in the presentation, but I just want you to hang on to that number. So my number was 4.5 lakhs. Okay. You get it, guys? Someone give me a yes. Let's not make it boring, guys. This is not a lecture. Okay, great. Abdullah is excited. Nice. He wants to save up money. He wants to fulfill goals. Other guys, I'm still okay. Let's see. Coming to the next slide.
Okay, I think I'll take this up, Satyam.
Please go ahead.
So thank you for a wonderful poll and everything that we discussed about the goals. I think we'll be diving down more into goals, etc. later. But before doing that, and before even starting on the financial journey, the first and the primary thing that everyone should do is budgeting. Now, what is budgeting, right? We've heard of the word so many times, and in simple words, budgeting is estimation of your expenses, but also estimation of your incomes, right? So we want to come to a state where we track all our expenses. We see that our incomes are sufficient to handle our expenses and so on. We don't want to come to a stage in life where our expenses exceed our income, right? Because that's something that we won't be able to handle. So budgeting is the estimation of our incomes and expenses. And of course, there are a lot of tips and tricks to budgeting. And maybe if we can go to the next slide, Prachi. Thank you so much. So creating a meaningful budget is when we follow the 50-30-20 rule, right? So what is the 50-30-20 rule? So say if you're earning about 20,000 a month, right? I'm sorry for the vague estimation, but say 50% of your 20,000, that is your monthly income, should go in your needs, 20% should go in savings, and 30% should be going in your wants, right? So if you're earning 20,000 a month, then say about 10,000 should go in your needs. Now needs include your monthly groceries, rent, mortgage, utilities, health, medicine, supply, etc., petrol, etc. So these are your needs. 30%, say 6,000 rupees from your monthly income should go in wants. So this is where you feel like, I don't want to cook today. Maybe I want to eat from outside. So maybe you use that money to dine out. You use that money to shop. You use that money to inculcate some hobbies in your life, right? And Netflix subscription and so on are always there. And then the 20%, which is the 4,000 rupees from your 20,000 income, goes in savings. Now we'll talk a little bit more about savings, maybe in the couple of other slides ahead. But from savings, what I mean is basically there are different kinds of savings. I would basically term this as the savings and the savings deposit or the fixed deposit and so on. And then we can talk a little bit about investing as well. But you always start from savings and then go on to investing. And if you go on the right in this presentation, then you can see that income minus expenses is equal to savings. This is what everyone talks about. Our approach is a little different. We feel that we have to always take out our savings first from our income, right? So income minus savings is equal to expenses. That's the way to visualize basically your savings, right? It's a very important component from your income that's going out. Can we go on the other side slide, please?
So I think I will take this, Manali.
Yeah, sure.
Prachi,
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. So I was about to share the link for asking questions, but my phone seems to be switching off. So at this point, guys, do you have any questions? Anything in your mind that that has popped up and you seem to be confused? And if there's at any point it happens, please raise your hand so that we can stop for a moment, because things can be tricky and you could maybe not agree with what we're telling. So it's a discussion. Let's discuss it out and understand. So please feel free.
And actually, thank you, Satyam, for that giving a stop to us, because this what Manali shared with us right now, that it should be always income minus savings is equal to expenses. Here, I have a story from my own life, that when I was in my chartered accountancy, I started with my first job, which was as an article assistant to a CA, and I used that was my first income at the age of 20. And at that time, what my grandmother told me, that of every 100 that you save now, first and foremost, keep 30% aside. That was what she said to me. And 30% out of these 30%, 10% should go in your short-term goals, then to your long-term goals, and third should be your emergency corpus. And then what she said now, that rest of the 70%, you can expend it all. Needs, wants, whatever you have, you can do it all what you want. But first, save. So this 50-30-20 rule or my nani 70-30 rules, these all come handy. And you know what? These nani, dadi and mummy ka gyan, and these are the biggest finance minister of our house, and they do not need any knowledge, but how they have managed everything. And right now everybody of us are at homes. Have you ever asked or seen that what are the expenses are going on just in groceries? What is the electricity bill of this month? What is the mobile bill cumulatively of the whole family? And how are your parents managing it? What are the savings that are going around? So it is a very basic thing from where we can start, and we do not even need to ask. It is all around us. And that is whole budgeting is all about. So practical, so practical. Don't you agree, Manali?
Completely agree. I second everything that you said, Prachi. Yeah.
So we have our HOD ma'am also here. So if I heard it right, I just want to know how much she does budgeting in their house. What do they do?
Okay, I'm guessing she's not there. But aside, leaving that aside, Prachi, it seems very interesting. And plus, guys, staying at home at this time, it was very interesting that I went to get my ration this month. So get the groceries for the month. And it's for the first time that it hit me that, it takes like 11,000 for my whole family, like 3 people's family, guys, I tell you. And, when I was in Bombay, a single guy, everything was just very simple. But here, taking into account everything, flight tickets to places, going to marriages, giving them gifts in marriages. So our parents assign, they have thought of everything, man. They make sure that when they retire, they have a corpus for that. Plus they make sure that, we have a steady life. So that's pretty crazy, guys, pretty crazy. Sorry, Prachi, please continue.
Of course. So now, in anything that is coming to anybody's mind, what is their story? What is their story? Ria, you want to share? Okay, we will randomly pick then. Okay, yeah, somebody's saying. Yeah.
Share like with respect to like the budget.
Yes. Like while you are at home, how much have you just seen? Like what is going around in the house? What are the expenses that go around? And how much do you expend?
So on a personal approach, since like we're at home, we are not like spending much on the like how much we used to spend when everything was open, like before the pandemic. So currently I'm saving a lot of money. So but yeah, at home also the ration and everything, like I have no idea. I really don't know.
Okay. And what about others? Anybody who wants to share their experience of lockdowns?
So yeah, that's very interesting. But guys, see, that's the thing. So there's a line between people. So there's a lot of knowledge out there. Now it's your effort, to make the first step and then understand how much you want to understand and know. So for the first step for everyone, you guys, you're in college. I didn't do this, but you should. You should try to understand how your parents have managed the finances. Is there have they taken life insurances? Like my parents have taken a lot of LICs. They never invested much in mutual funds. My father tried investing once in the stock market, had a pretty bad experience, and then stopped on it. So he has a lot of life insurance and stuff. And like these days, Sahara India LICs are not doing that good. There are other ways to increase your money. So you should explore that, understand why and how. I mean, so why did your parents choose that, and was that the best then? So just delve deep. And it would be an exercise for you, but it would be a fun exercise for you. And plus, when your parents would look at you that you're getting into this, it would give them a mature view of you.
Absolutely,
Also,
Satyam. Like, sorry, can you please go ahead? Sorry.
yeah, sorry, Manali. So the thing is, also, guys, so what I see in these days is that So not these days. It's always been there. When we, we're friends, and we. So right now we have a lot of cafes out there. We have a lot of places out there that charge ridiculously, man. So it's not about you being very rich, you being poor, you being middle class. It's not about that. It's about understanding what you're being charged for, and then accordingly taking a step. I mean, you could be full on loaded with cash. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is try not to be, not to be cheated anywhere and everywhere. Just that. Yeah, please go ahead, Manali. Very sorry.
I think I was just building on to your point, some of the wonderful points that you made. I think one thing that I personally do is that I write all my expenses in my notes tab in my phone. So if I spent on a bag of chips, or if I went out for the movies, I think, of course, this was before the pandemic. Like all throughout my college life, I maintained like a detailed budget of my expenses. And budgeting is, I mean, it's very simple. So you can open your notes tab and just quickly write down, okay, maybe these are the things that I spent on today, in this week, maybe in the month. And then, gradually you can track down, okay, maybe my focus areas are on eating, or my focus areas are on shopping, etc. So I think that was a very pro tip that I personally follow, and I wanted to tell everyone.
Exactly. And adding to your point, Manali, it all comes down to three basic things. What we have, that is our income. What we are gonna spend it on, that is our expense, and what we have in the end. And that's the approach that we are changing. We have the income, then we will say how much we want to save, and then we will expend it all. Isn't that right?
Absolutely.
Yes, and now we are at home. But when we were used to be in college, and all of you would have been on campus, there is so many things that we do not even keep track of. Splitwise is there, okay, for the group expenses, but there are some times when the group expenses are not paid off to the person who is spending upon it. Is that also true? Was true for me, and I have still some amount due to Smith. And Smith doesn't ask me for it, but it is there. So that is something from we also. Our splitwise balance do not come around, but that is something that we keep track of. And so it is all about keeping track of your own money when you have the money. And right now it might not, it must be major part of it is for your parents' income. So we spend it more responsibly, irresponsibly, irrespective of the situation. But when you will be going into a job or your own entrepreneurial endeavor, or for even for the higher education that some people went around, they will need money for that. And I want to take one example of here of Nana. So Nana, you remember? Anybody remember Nana? So Nana was the person.
Prachi,
Yeah, yeah.
wait. Guys, we have goodie bags for people who answer in between. Not kidding.
Okay, can I participate?
Nope, Smith.
That was something a surprise.
Yeah, wasn't it going to be an engineering crowd? I thought, engineering people are fun, man. I was at my time. These people are very laid back. Guys, you don't want goodie bags? What even, man? T-shirts? Pen drive? Anyone? Someone is trying to speak up. Yes. Nope. Please go ahead, Prachi. They don't want goodie bags.
They don't believe us? Oh. Okay. Okay. Then
Yeah, whoever was it, please speak up. We want some participation from you guys. You can't be. It's a Monday afternoon, guys.
Yes, we want goodie bags.
You have to answer, Sagar. Okay. Who was Nana? Ayush has raised his hand.
Nana wanted a job.
Cool, good. What about you, Ayush? What do you think? Okay. Ayush was just saying Congress. Cool. Yeah, please go ahead, Prachi.
okay. So was it Sagar
Yes,
who
it was.
answered this? Yeah, so Sagar, you were right. Nana was the one who wanted the job, And so when Nena would going for a job, what are the things that will be in her mind? Of course, she will have a fixed income, right? Her salary per month. And to fulfill her dreams, what she wants to do. She wants that at the end of the day, she has some savings, she does some investment. And because we all know something about some tax, every salaried person or every person who is earning needs to pay tax. So she will like that my investment is something which makes me save my tax. That is something she will be looking upon. And these investments along with tax saving in the sense that at the end of the day, there are some investments, if you do expend in those, like out of your whole 1 lakh per you have a monthly income of 1 lakh. Okay, Nana is a very ambitious girl, she needs that kind of money, so she earns 1 lakh per month, and she has an investment of around 40,000 per month, which she invests in some LIC policies or some PPF or something like that. So some expenses or she's doing expenses, but in the form of investment. Am I right? Can anybody understand that investment is also something kind of an expenses, which will grow for us only, which will give us some returns back. The money will come back after some point of time, but are we not expending it right now? Just give me a yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Prachi.
Right. So, investments are also a type of expenses. So what government says that instead of going to a movie or going to buying a car or doing anything which is unnecessary otherwise in their eyes, if you do these kind of expenses like taking a health insurance or taking a LIC policy or going into a pension scheme, which will be handy when you retire, then I will give you a tax saving. Like if you have invested 10,000 in a health insurance, at the end of the year, you do not need to pay 10,000 tax on this 10,000. Did you get it? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Prachi, just wait a second. Who all got it, guys? If you can just raise your hands. So guys, this is not just another session where you just open a laptop and just let it be. Please participate because this is for you. I mean, there's no sense. No one is making money off it. Girl Script is trying really hard for you to understand because I didn't. And I figured it out later, which was bad. Please do. It's the right time, guys. I have 6 people raising their hands. Out of 37, that gives us 31 not raising the hand.
Okay, so are those hands, did they understand or did they do they have a question?
They have understood. I asked them to raise
Okay.
their hands if they understood.
Okay, that's great. So for those who didn't understand, I would just want to say that 1 lakh was our income. Either we expend it on our daily expenses or our monthly expenses on rent, on pizza, on mall, or on groceries or anything else, or else we expend it on our investments. So these are also expenses that what we all understood. And government says that if you expend it on some defined schemes that we have told you, then we will not take it as your income, and hence no tax will be charged on it. So if out of 1 lakh I have expend what I said 10,000 on a health insurance, so my taxable income will become 90,000. And the tax will be charged on that only. So Nana would want that, right? That out of that 1 lakh of per month income, which is like 12 lakh per year, I'm taking a very basic example, although in real life it does change. But but you need to understand the gist of it. That what is the gist of having a salary income and then saying that what is the tax that is going on. So if I have a 12 lakh of income and I have tax saving investments of around 1,50,000, which is the permissible limit, then my taxable income will become how much? Can anybody answer that?
10,50,000.
Yeah, thank you.
Sagar,
It's
man,
an
you get 2
engineering
goodie
tower.
bags, man. Sagar is winning it, guys. How can you let Sagar win it all? No, guys, come on, buckle up.
So these are the tax saving expenses. And otherwise, you can also invest on growth funds, which you only want that, okay, I have my money, I want to invest in a share market or a mutual fund. So that is your growth investment, which will give you higher returns. So yeah, if you can see some very unknown terms here, whomever knows at least uh, 5 of these terms. We have RD, liquid FD, health insurance, ATG donations, and no Google searching. Okay, I will
Yeah,
just give you 10
SIP.
seconds to come around.
I know. You want.
Okay, then tell me 5 of it.
So ELS is the equity linked savings scheme. Basically, it is a tax saver mutual fund. The RD is a recurring deposit, and what do you want from this?
Liquid FD, who knows liquid FD?
Liquid FD is like basically you can withdraw it whenever you want. A short term kind of a FD.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Yeah.
PPF is Public Provident Fund. NPS is National
Great.
Pension Scheme. SGB is Sovereign Gold Bonds.
Oh my God, you are rocking. Okay.
F is Exchange Traded Funds.
Hmm. And I cannot see your name, but Satyam has noted down your name. Okay, Satyam, have you noted down the name?
Yes.
Okay, great, yeah, great man. And this is actually something that can anybody, and please do not get scared that you do not know about it. It's okay. It's so okay. And that is why we are here. And that is why a community is needed around to have these terms making be cleared out to you. So all these short term, mid term, long term, and under that, these are all type of investments and savings that you can do. So RD is something that you can do right now. What is RD? That you have Nana has an ICICI bank account. Every month she gets 1 lakh of rupees. What she does that every month she has given a standing instruction to the bank that every month auto sweep, auto debit 10,000 amount from my account. I do not know. Nana, I am Nana. I do not know. Whenever at the 5th of every month, please take away 10,000, put it under some interest rate into another account called recurring deposit. And it is of 6 months, it is of 1 year also. And if Nana has taken for 1 year, after 1 year, she will get it back, that amount of 1,20,000 of principal plus the interest back into her account. So are you seeing that? You can also do it right now. Not just Nana who is just earning, but you can also do it. You do not you if you have 1,000, 5,000 every month, what you can do that you can keep 500,000 rupees in an RD and it will come back to you instead of just lying there or being just expended on some random things. So that is one thing to do. And health insurance, as everybody know, is the Mediclaim. ATG donations are actually the donations which we give to a registered trust, which also is a is also a tax saving investment. It is not an investment, but it's just a donation. But of course, government says that okay, you did a good expense. You gave to a trust which we also trust. That is why we have given them a ATG registration. And ATG is the section of Income Tax Act actually. So if anybody who registers under this particular section of Income Tax Act, it is a trust who registers under that. And if you give donation to such kind of trust, then you get a ATG donation. So there is actually a very good organization called Sankalp Taru. You can just Google it out. Everybody just Google out Sankalp Taru. Sankalp Taru, SANKALPTARU, Sankalp Taru. So what they do, they have a very fundu funda that you can plant. Achha, I do not want to tell about it. Who knows about it?
I mean, even if you have Googled it right now and know about it, go ahead. If you haven't done so, please do and win goodie bags.
So nobody knows about it. Now I will tell you, it is such a good funda. And so what you can do is you go to their site, website. There are so many projects of planting trees in Ladakh, in Uttarakhand, in MP, in every state of the country. And what you can do, you can just give them an amount of 150 rupees per tree, and you can choose a project in a particular state or region, and they will plant a tree in your name and will give you even a GPS ID and a certificate that this tree is in your name. And their GPS will be there whenever the tree will be planted. It will come to your, of course, you will give your mail ID and phone number. It will come to you and you can see how your tree is growing. Such a great concept, and you can even gift it to your friends. So next birthday parties or a teacher's day or something, you can or gift it to your friends, your family, your mentors, your teachers. A very great concept. So if I give that 150, 200 per tree donation to this kind of organization, I will get a tax reduction. I can tell to the government that I have spent this much, and please do not take it as my taxable income. Deduct it from it. So that is also a very good option. And you all know long-term life insurance, then PPF. PPF is also a very good option for Nana. Why? Because number one, it is a tax saving option. And why? Because what she can do, it is called long term because it is a retirement plan. Basically 15 years you have to expend. It is a you say to your bank that open a public provident fund account for me, whose interest is right now going on like this, and till 15 years auto sweep this much of amount from my account, from my saving account, and you can have it as a long-term investment. And it is whenever you will get it back after 15 years, it will be non-taxable. Sovereign gold bonds are in the same way. They are issued by RBI. Anybody who doesn't want to buy a physical gold can go for it. And national pension scheme is also which anybody can apply uh, with the government. So all these are not the terms that you need to know right now, but two things that I will tell you about: RD and PPF. These are very good options. So these are all divided into short term, mid term, and long term. Why so? Because short term are something which you can invest for 1 year, you will get the benefit within 1 year. Midterm, because you have to wait at least for 4, 5, or 8 years for this kind of investment. And long term, it is beyond 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, 20 years. These are down the line, which will come handy when you are in your retirement. So whenever you are going in for a job, you will need to take care of these kind of stuff. So that was from my side. That is Nana's story, and we will go to the next slide. Any questions on this?
So I see Rishika and Yashraj raising their hands. Do you have a question, guys? If not, you can say no. We don't mind.
Yes, so I had one question about the pro tip you had given in the start, Sri, about having different accounts for different goals. Can you elaborate that with examples?
Satyam, actually, you
So,
can
yes,
go
sir,
for it because you.
yes, sir, I'll take that up in the next slide. It's in the next slide. I'll talk about it. Don't worry.
Okay.
Thank you, Smith.
Rishika, you there?
Guys, if you don't want to speak, we also have a Google Doc that you can put your questions. Feel free to use that as well.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so please do not be confused if I have deliberately not delved into all the nitty-gritties of these short-term, mid-term, and long-term. You just need to understand what they are and what you need to know when you're going for a job, right? So let's move forward.
I think I'll take this up, Prachi. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. So, as you can see, there we're talking so much about these long-term, short-term funds and so on. We're talking about budgeting to you guys. We're talking about setting goals. Why are we addressing you guys, right? So the primary motive behind this is that there's a lot of power in starting early. The earlier that you start, the more money you will be able to accumulate, say, into your retirement and over the years. And of course, you are going to need money over the years in your life, right? So this is the point, and this is the point where you are supposed to start. You're supposed to educate yourself first, of course, and then you're supposed to dive into financial literacy and start your savings and investing, right? As you can see in the screen on the left side, there are two people over here. The left person has started investing at the age of 35, which is comparatively a little late, because I'm guessing all of you guys are in the bracket of 18 to 22 age groups. um, Monthly income, monthly investment for this person is 15,000, invested for 25 years. Total investment. So after 25 years, this person would have invested around 45 lakhs, right? Now, if you grow this 45 lakhs at a 15 CAGR, CAGR is nothing but the investment rate of return that you get through an SIP, mutual funds, you get all sorts of returns, but this is an assumed rate of return right now. Then your retirement amount, say at the age of 60 and so on, will be 4 crore, right? 4 crore rupees. But this is only because that person has started at the age of 35. Now, if you start at the age of 25, right, or 21, I mean, there is no bound to it, right? You start at the age of 25, 23, monthly investment is 5,000 rupees, invested for 35 years, um, and till the age of 60. So you invest till the age of 60. Total investment is 21 lakhs, which is grown at 15 CAGR, 15% rate of return. The total investment and the total retirement amount that you accumulate at the age of 60 is 5.6 crores. So you can see, of course, if you start early, there's a lot of merit in that. You will be able to accumulate more, and thereby you'll be able to manage it also very well. If you go on the right side, another picture over here, which is very insightful, we talked about tracking your expenses. Of course, you have to use a budget for that. We talked about the 50-30-20 rule for a budget. We talked about cutting unnecessary expenses. Um, we are educating ourselves right now through this webinar. And of course, you should be reading about all this. You should be following the market if you're interested in investing. You should be following the government schemes and so on. Reinvest the profits is something that comes after you've started investing. Invest the money you saved and build up income streams. So building up income streams is, of course, having a passive income. Passive income is something that is apart from your employed salary, right? So that is also a major thing that you can pursue apart from your salaried or education or so on, anything that you're pursuing in your life. Can we go on the next slide, please? Right. Smith, do you want to take this up?
Sure. Thank you very much. So I guess about 30% of you or 33% of you would start working right after college. About similar percentage of people want to become an entrepreneur. And this slide is really important for all those of you who be working or be involved in business right after your college. For the people who are going for higher studies, you still have a couple of years before you create an emergency fund for yourself. So emergency fund is nothing but a safety backup for us. Okay. In worst scenarios, this is something that you should only touch when something worse happens. For example, when COVID started, about thousands or maybe more lost their jobs because of this calamity. Nobody would have expected this was going to happen, but people who were prepared would have been able to ride over this. And this is where emergency fund comes in handy. Okay, emergency fund is nothing but saving about 6 months of your salary or 6 months of your expenses in a separate account. Okay, why separate account? Because we don't want to touch this money. Okay, this is only to be touched for emergency purposes. When let's say you quit your job or lose your job or not able or are not able to work. Okay, this is the saving that you can use up for that time, and the amount of the saving should be roughly about 6 months of your expenses. And I'm not sure who put up this question about having different accounts for different goals. Can you?
Yashraj.
Yashraj. Okay, Yashraj. The idea behind having different account for different goals is, for example, let's say I want to go on a vacation after 3 years. Okay, I'll create a separate account specifically for that purpose, and I'll keep on depositing money only for that purpose, so that after 3 years I have that much amount which I can use. I know I'll use it for a vacation. Okay, let's say people want to plan or want to go for higher studies after working. Okay, let's say you'll work for 3 years and then want to do a master somewhere. For 3 years, you can create a separate fund where you specifically save money that is to be used for your higher studies. Since it's in a separate account, you don't necessarily spend it. Okay, it's a different account for your, or for, it's your own account, but it's in a different place. And by account, I don't just mean a bank account. You could maybe have a mutual fund for that name. You could have an SIP. You could, let's say, have a government insurance scheme, some other source of some other source that's separate from your original bank account, the account that you already have. Okay, that's why it is important to have different accounts for different goals, so that you don't end up spending that amount. Okay, and then 3 years later you realize, okay, I don't even have the money to go for a vacation. I'll just roam around nearby. Okay, I hope the question was clear. Yes, Raj, are you there?
Yeah, got it.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else has any other question?
Abdullah here.
Abdullah, yeah, go on.
In the previous slides, we talked about investment. Then does that mean that is it applicable for NRIs also, or just people working in India?
See, investments are available for everyone. We just have to check the rules before investing. Okay, there are certain schemes that are only available for Indians. There are certain schemes that are available for both Indians and NRIs. So we'll just have to check that before we invest. For example, bank accounts, you can have, I guess you're allowed to have bank accounts. The interest rates might be different for certain schemes, but I guess it's possible.
The interest rate stays same for a savings account. I've had one.
Okay. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we can
also, Abdullah, if there are specific questions on this, you being an NRI and trying to invest, you could send it over to me on LinkedIn or on email, and I would be able to help you out on this. Cool?
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you.
Prachi, next slide. Okay, so this, I guess, is the most interesting slide of them all. Till all, in the meantime, how many of you have ever dreamt of earning while you sleep? Okay, so there's a very famous quote by Warren Buffett. He's one of the richest person in the world. Okay, and he says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Okay, and this, I guess, is one of the most interesting quotes. That is one of the most interesting lines that he has ever said. Okay, and by earning while you sleep, he means having a source of income that you don't have to work for. You work for it once, and then you keep on earning from it for the rest of your life. A very simple example of this would be, let's say you have an extra house. Okay, let's say you have two houses or an extra flat. Okay, you stay in one. Okay, you give the other one on rent. Okay, that becomes a source of your passive income. Okay, you don't have to work for it actively. That you automatically get certain amount in your bank account at the end of each month. Okay, so apartment or land was one of the ways of passive income. There are other streams also possible. One of them is content creation. A lot of people in the recent times have taken up to YouTube, to Instagram, to other applications to become content creators. Earlier, it was limited to publishing books. Once you publish a book, for the rest of your life, whatever money you earn from that book, that keeps on adding to your bank account. You don't actively work for it once you've written it, but you keep on getting some amount for it. Nowadays, let's say you put a video on YouTube. Okay, whatever money you get from that video that keeps on adding to your bank account. You don't need to work for it anymore. Another stream of passive income would be stock market or mutual funds. Let's say you invest, let's say 50,000 in mutual funds in 1 year. You don't have to do anything with that money. It grows automatically based on the interest rate that you get. So these are different ways of passive income, and in today's age, I guess it's pretty necessary to have another source of income, a source of passive income, along with the jobs or business that you do, because it gives you certain amount of flexibility with the money that you have, and also gives you certain amount of extra money that you can use for other purposes that you have. Let's say you want to, let's say we'll again take the example of Naina. She's currently working, okay? Apart from working, she could, let's say, invest in mutual funds. She could invest in stock market, and she gets an extra source of income every month or every year, okay? Anyone has any questions regarding passive income? Guys, this is the most interesting part, okay? You're earning while you're sleeping. You should be curious about this. Okay, never mind. We can move forward.
So there is no permission to edit the documents which you shared.
Just give me a second.
Okay, meanwhile, we can move on while Satyam gives the edit option.
Sure. Can you move the slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, Manali, you want to
Okay.
take this up?
Yes, I'll take this up. So thank you, Smith. I think now we'll dive a little bit into detail on, we talked about savings. Now, after savings, the next rule is to invest, right? Of course, it's not a rule, but the next thing that you can do with the amount that you've saved, of course, keeping it in the bank is one option. The other option is, of course, putting it in mutual fund, as Smith said, to gain like a passive income, putting it into stocks, equities, bitcoins, and so on. So we're going to talk about that here. First step is, of course, to create a balanced and meaningful budget, which we talked about. Again, reiterating the 50-30-20 rule. Second step is to set your long-term and short-term goals with a time horizon in mind, right? So, for example, I want to go for a trip in 2 years. All right, so I might need 50,000 rupees for that. Okay, so I have that as a short-term goal in my mind, right? And I think everyone thought about that, the goal, the short-term goal, your dreams, and so on, and an amount that you have visualized for that short-term goal or long-term goal. And let's go ahead. Prachi, can you please open the HDFC calculator? Yeah. And meanwhile, if any of you would like to share their goals and their amount that they've visualized, then we can quickly calculate how much you need today, how much you need to save today, like a quickly 2-minute activity. Anybody here?
So you remember the activity we had done in the beginning, guys, about calculating your goal amount?
Goals and then an amount. Yeah.
Just anyone, just speak up randomly.
Okay, Abdullah here.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi.
If I want to travel like about 50 countries in a lifetime,
Okay.
and maybe I require 50 lakhs maybe, so how much?
Okay, cool. Right. Prachi, can you input 50 lakhs over here?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, done.
Can you click on next? Okay, what is the time horizon that you need to fulfill this goal? Maybe when you start working and then you're going to take around 10 years or say 7 to 8 years to fulfill this, right? Anything in mind, Abdullah?
Maybe like while working or maybe after retirement, I'm not sure.
Okay, what about 20, 25 years?
Yeah, fine.
Can you input 25 over here, Prachi? Okay, next. Expected rate of return, I think for a mutual fund can give anywhere up to say 15 to 17, 18%. But I want to be a little conservative over here, so I might, can we put 12% over here? Because equities give around 12%. And we're trying to look at the conservative side, right? Can you scroll down? Hey, Prachi, can you scroll down? Yeah, right. So your total cost is, as you can see, it's 271 lakhs, right? And the amount that you need to save today per month is only 14,000. Okay. So you save 14,000 per month today, right? In 25 years, you're going to get 50 lakhs. Okay. And this amount will grow at an interest rate of 12% that we had imagined. Of course, there are higher interest rates. And if you want, if you're a risk averse investor, then you can also adopt, say, a 5% that you get on a savings deposit and so on. Sorry, fixed deposit and so on. But you get the point, right? You can use this calculator to decide how much you need to save today for your goals. And it's always helpful to keep this in mind and keep a goal visualized, right? Prachi, can you go back to the slide, please?
Also, Manali,
Yeah.
one of them had a question regarding the safety in investing in stocks. So how safe is to invest in stocks?
Right. So it depends on the person's age group, the person's risk appetite, right? Investment horizon, everything. It's very difficult to give an answer straight up. But if for us, if you're talking about, then you have to be cautious, of course. But at this point, I think you can be a little more aggressive, right, in your investing, which basically means that you can allocate a more sizable amount of your portfolio, say in equities or stocks. So even if, of course, you have to diversify. So I will never suggest that only invest in stocks, right? So if that person who's asked this question diversifies into, say, debt or mutual funds or bitcoins, right, except other than stocks, then I think that person is good to go, because then the risk is always diversified, right? So even if there's a market crash, right, you lose, say, 60% of your portfolio, you will still be gaining something in, say, debt markets or mutual funds or bitcoins. For example, bitcoins are hardly correlated with the market. So I feel like diversification is the answer to your question, Satyam. And the more you diversified your portfolio is, the less risky it is to invest in, say, a single type of fund or, say, a single type of asset class, right?
So does it answer your question, Rishika?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Okay, great.
We have a
Let's
lot
move
of questions, Manali. So I'll let you proceed with the slide. After the slide, just take a moment to answer a lot of questions, okay?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move ahead quickly. How to build your portfolio. I think this will also answer a lot of questions. Understanding your asset allocation. Prachi, can you please click on the link again? So your investment horizon is the amount that you want to stay invested for. And your risk appetite is basically if you're a risk averse or an aggressive investor, right? Risk seeking investor. Right. So over here, your current age, can you input this as 21? Yeah. Right. Thank you. How much risk you can take? I think it should be high. For a person, say, who's 21, not a lot of burdens in their life. So I think high investment is good, high risk level. Investment horizon should be around 5 to 10 years. Okay. So as you can see on your right, the little circles that you can see over here. Here we talk about how, Prachi, can you just move your cursor over the circle on the right? Yeah, thank you so much. So we say that around 70% of your entire, 75% of your entire allocation should be in equity, right? And another 25 should be in debt. Now in equity, the distribution is that mid cap, like large caps, are 58%. Mid cap and small cap, if you go on, if you just move your cursor down to the pink side, yeah, that's 17%. Then if you talk about the debt component, then of course there's the allocation between the debt is 25%, and then the allocation between the debt funds, and so on, right? 8% and 12%, long-term fixed income, and so on. Cash and liquid component of this is 5%. Okay, can you go back to the slide again? So this is a brief idea of how your allocation should look like for, say, a 21, 22-year-old. And this gives you an idea of how much equity component you need to have and so on. Of course, it is very, very personal. So don't take this as an investment advice. For every person, it's different, right? It depends on your goals. It depends on your horizon. It depends on your risk appetite and so on. So this is all about building your portfolio and asset allocation. Moving ahead, we're talking about starting to invest now. So we've talked about savings, we've talked about goals, we've talked about portfolio. Now we're talking about how to invest, right? Where to invest. So this is all my personal experience from what I've written over here. Of course, you're free to use other applications and platforms, right? For equity and debt, I use Zerodha, I use Paytm Money, I use HDFC Securities, and so on. Mutual funds, I use Paytm Money. You can also check out Grow. Very, very, very interesting user interface. Very, very easy to use and so on. For Bitcoins, I use WazirX. And of course, I would suggest that you can delve into Bitcoin maybe later after you started investing into equity, debt, mutual funds, and so on. And the final idea is to review where you've invested biannually. So reviewing your portfolio is basically rebalancing, taking into account macro and micro factors. Now, a macro factor, for example, would be, say, a pandemic, right? No one knew that this would happen. But you need to change your allocation to equity, say, in a pandemic, because equities fell very sharply, around 80%, right, in March. So that really evaporated a lot of portfolios, right? So in certain circumstances, you have to understand if there's a recession going on and so on. You have to keep evaluating where your portfolio stands. Of course, micro factors, what is happening with your life. If you're getting married, then of course you have to change your risk allocation. If you want to go for higher studies, you have to change your risk allocation, and so on, right? If your income has changed, you can put more money now and so on. Okay, I hope everyone's clear. I'm not going into a lot of depth into equity markets and Bitcoins and so on, because I don't think we have a lot of time now. But we can move ahead and I can just take up some questions maybe later. Right? Can we move ahead, Prachi?
Yeah, so Manali, we have a few questions if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So the first question. And I think this is the best meme to iterate that. First question, Satyam.
Yeah, the first question is, can you explain SIP with a lump sum amount? This question is by Yashraj.
Okay, sure. Very simple. SIP with a lump sum is basically you invest a big corpus or say any amount that you want in the beginning, and then you don't have to keep investing, right, in intervals. So for example, if you want to start an SIP, say an Axis Blue Chip Direct Mutual Fund, right, for example, and you want to use the route of a lump sum investment. So you say that, okay, I have like 5,000 lying down in my account, and I feel like maybe I should just put in all of the 5,000 at the same time, right? I don't need to invest again and again. I don't want like a mutual fund where I invest 100 rupees per month. I have 5,000 with me lying down. Let me just use this and put this entirely into that fund, right? In the the Blue Chip Mutual Fund, right? So in that case, I make a lump sum investment. Okay. So I don't have to keep reinvesting. I don't have to keep investing 100 rupees every month. I invest 5,000 rupees at the start of my investing, right? And I let this stay invested in the mutual fund, and then the fund managers take control of your money and so on. So you don't have to keep investing again and again every month. You just invest 5,000 and you stay put. I hope that answers the question, Satyam. Hello.
Yeah, Yashraj, does it answer your question?
Yes.
Great. So the next question is, I have no idea from whom, but let's say it's from Anonymous. It says, coming to credit cards, how can we use credit cards for our benefits? So I'll take it if you guys don't mind. So
yeah, sure.
So credit cards is a tricky thing, but it's also a savior, guys. Okay. So credit cards is a necessity when, so credit cards is best when you're in a major plight and say situations like you are in the middle of the month, you have all your investment, all your savings done at one place, but you need to book, there's an emergency that has happened, you need to book flight tickets from somewhere to somewhere and it's costing you a bomb. Now here's where your credit card comes in and saves you. Or say somebody got admitted to the hospital. I've seen this happening in front of me. So one of my colleagues' wife had gotten into the hospital, and he had a transaction limit of 1 lakh from his debit card, and he had to make a payment of 2 lakhs at that moment. So that's when your credit card comes into play. But so there are a lot of ifs and buts when using a credit card, okay? Because things like, so what happens is once you start using a credit card, you get a limit. Say you have a salary of 1 lakh rupees, you get a limit of say 50,000 or 60,000. It's calculated by the bank depending upon your credit score. Now, it all depends on how you manage the card. So for the first thing to keep in mind is that you use the card, you are aware that you're using the card only when it's required. So say when I go to a party and say if you're getting drunk, no comments on if you should get drunk or not. But if you're getting drunk and you start using your credit card there, because it's simple, it has a lot of cash flow, you lose the cycle of how much money is spent, how much money is there. So it's dicey there. So the best use case is use it only in emergencies, or if you're trying to rebuild your credit score. So what has happened is, if say you've taken a loan and you've defaulted on it, now your credit score that is maintained by CIBIL, not CIBIL, a lot of CRIF, Experian, there are a lot of agencies that maintain your credit score, even RBI. Now say your credit score goes on decreasing. So what you do is there are credit rebuilding programs that are built by banks. So what happens is you submit say amount, say you submit an amount of 50,000 in an FD or 20,000 in an FD or 10,000 in an FD. And on that 10,000 of your FD or on that 20,000 of FD, you get a credit card with that limit. So say if you have taken, if you have like submitted an FD of, made an FD of 20,000, you get a credit card with a limit of 20,000. And then now you start using the credit card in your normal grocery bills and stuff like that. Even, a lot of websites like Book My Show, Snapdeal have a lot of offers, and then you start paying off that. So these are certain programs on certain, credit cards that give you the liberty. Otherwise, it's a very dicey thing, because there are things like when you start using a credit card, every month a bill is generated and you get 15 days to repay that bill. If you fail to repay that bill, there's a very huge penalty that differs from bank to bank that you have to fulfill. Now, there's also a minimum amount generated. So say you spent around 20,000 in a month. After a month, your bill amount will be 20,000. If you pay that 20,000, it goes back to zero. You are a great citizen. Everything's working out well for you. If you don't have the amount, say you exceeded limits and you don't have the amount, there's also a minimum amount generated by the bank, say 3,000. Now, if you pay a 3,000 amount, the 3,000 gets deducted from the previous amount that you have to be paid, say 50,000 or whatever it was. And then a certain good interest rate that can be paid off is put on that, and it's carried forward to the next month. If you fail to pay that minimum amount, you are it's really bad, because the bank, the whole funda of credit card is to make the user not aware of how much money he has, and he'll just go splurging on. So Ayush, I'm guessing you get a gist of what I'm trying to say. Do you, Ayush? Okay, I'm guessing Ayush is saying yes. That's the positive me guessing. Yeah, so let's move on. We also have some questions. Okay, there's one question that says, I'm audible, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, so there's one question that says, what are some good resources or books to follow in order to keep track and learn about all these different things, like the schemes available, or what other things exist out there, like SIP or mutual funds? And one of the answers is that
question, Satyam.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were giving an answer. First you.
Yeah, so one of the answers that Smith very smartly gave is you could go on and follow our page on LinkedIn, because we keep giving you advice on the same. Other than that, Prachi, please take it up.
Yes, Satyam, that was what I was gonna say because it is a cumulative community that we have built around, and the resources will be there. And if you want to ask a particular questions, you can DM us also. And so next is, but if you want some good apps that we have used in these years, recently a very good app has come around, which is called Basis. It is a app that has been started by by a very Ivy League. She's a very talented woman, Ivy League pass out, and she has opened up this app particularly for women. But it has all kinds of booster knowledge, and she says that anybody can have this knowledge around. And it is one of the kind app which is, because it's Girl Script here who is organizing this event, I will ask everyone to go to this app, download this app, and you can have our referrals also, which will also help you to other contents also. So Girl Script can contact us for that referral, and we will be happy to give that to you.
Great. So moving on, the next question is, how does cryptocurrency work? It's by Shreya. So Shreya, what you've asked is very complex. So these cryptocurrencies, they work on a technology called blockchain. Now, blockchain is a very interesting yet complicated technology because it works on something called as distributed ledger. Okay, I've previously worked on it, so I have a fair knowledge of it. But I mean, since the session is ending and we just have like 10-15 minutes, this would not be the right way to go. What you could do is you could hit us up, say with Avran, and maybe ask Ria or someone to help us arrange another session for you, and we would be happy to do that because it's very complex. And if you know, I could just give you a gist of it, but that would not be the way to go because
Yeah, we can conduct an entire session on just cryptos, right? Like it's so
that
complex.
and that would be
Prachi,
crazy.
can you go on the next slide?
Yes.
Satya,
Sorry.
y'all
Yeah.
can like exceed the session. It's fine. Like you don't have to like finish it at 5. That's not a problem. So like whatever is comfortable with you guys, you can extend.
We are comfortable going on for hours, but looking at the numbers, it's decreasing one by one. So we are trying to, we're trying to just
Yeah.
give everything we have as soon as possible. We've come down to
Okay.
30.
And
We're
then
not
we can open the floor also to questions, maybe if someone can unmute and ask questions later.
Yes, but moving on ahead, we have learned so many things today, and these are the 7 habits that we have given and brought to you, that we have developed and seen. So, Satyam, do you want to take it and
Yeah.
summarize our whole session?
So guys, this session was all about you delving into understanding your finances. Okay, so it is about what separates you from others. Now, this is a very basic session. Okay, I'm sure a lot of you know a lot of things that we have talked about, but practicing that in daily life is hard because a lot of you have things around you, peer pressure around you. So so say one of the habits, the first habit is tracking your expenses. Writing down your expense daily is hard. Trust me, guys, it's really hard. It takes because it takes consistency, right? It's like working out. But if you really are keen on becoming achieving that goal that you really want yourself to be at, some place you want to be at, some things that you want to achieve, you have to start working on all the small things that contribute to the bigger goal, right? And one of the very essential thing is tracking your expenses. And one thing to track expenses is write it down. Why write it down? You could remember it, that yesterday I had a chips of $20, one cold drink $30, $50 yesterday spent. But when you write it down and at the end of a week you just look at what all you have written, you'll be able to identify what all were the misses and what all were the catches. Say you could have saved, I could have saved like $20 every week, and like I would have had $100 more. And trust me, 100 rupees is a lot of rupees. You could start investing with that 100 rupees in an SIP, and that would become big some years on the lane. So yeah, even small pennies matter. So the first habit to develop is tracking your expenses, and we should be very serious on it. It's no joke. The second thing is spending whatever is left after saving. So if you have to achieve that goal someday, you have to learn to save. And the first step of saving is the first step of going to that goal is save first and then spend. Okay. The third is setting a workable budget. Now, say I work with a company in a pharma company, say Cipla. I would be going to Bombay to work with my company. Now there are 2-3 options that I have. I could stay in Lower Parel, where my office is, where I could easily be accessible to the office. It'll be a 5-minute walk, but I'll be paying like 60,000 for 1 BHK or 70,000 for 1 BHK. Now, because that is a very pain-free mechanism for me, I would want to stay there. But spending 70,000 on 1 BHK, how much ever good it is, hurts a bit, right? Because it takes 30 days for you to earn 1 month's salary, and then you just give it on the first day to your landowner. And if I could just move, say, 10 kilometers away from my office, I could get a 1 BHK in 35,000. So I'm saving like 50% there. So that's how you work out a budget. You could go on and do crazy things, but that's the thing, right? That's what differentiates you or me from someone else. You work out a budget, you have everything planned out, you're mature. You're not just an engineering kid, you're a mature engineering kid. The fourth habit is setting goals for yourself. It's very primary. You can't, it's fun to be Aditi, but it's hard to be Aditi. If you remember Aditi, right? I mean, it's fun to be very carefree, chilled out. But the thing is, everything is moving fast. I mean, make hobbies out of things, right? I mean, if you want to enjoy, make it a hobby, but just be focused. Just be more, it'll help you be more confident too. Plus, on the long run, you'll realize that having a goal helps out in a lot of things, man. Coming to the fifth habit, creating an emergency fund. This is very, very important, guys. And the most important thing, as Smith mentioned, was seen in this pandemic. People have lost, people from Ivy Leagues have lost their jobs, okay? And it's real bad out there. It's a massacre out there. Companies have shut down. I was reading a report today on how 70% of the startups in India are going to finish their funds in 3 months, and they don't have other sources of funds. That's the status. People are not talking about it because we are away from that circle. But if you are involved in that circle, you would know. People in big firms are losing out money. People graduating from IIMs have been kept on hold. And these people are from IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore. So you see the top-notch people are kind of kept outside the market. So you have to be ready for yourself, ready for your family, ready for everyone dependent on you. Okay. The sixth habit to develop is generating a source of passive income. Now, for anyone to, as Smith again said, that when you are asleep, the money should be minting itself. As simple as that. So yeah, this is very primary, guys. I mean, this is the first step. I am sure that every one of you right now in engineering college thinks of becoming an entrepreneur. At least 8, 9 of you were, according to the poll. But yes, guys, one thing about being an entrepreneur is that you should have to have eyes everywhere, and you should, you should see small opportunities and just take them. Just not wait for that one big leap. Just take small steps all along the way. Maybe create small sources of passive income all along the way, even for other people, man, not only for entrepreneurs. The seventh and the final habit, not the final habit, you could go on to make all the numerous good habits. The seventh habit that we want you to develop is spending on your financial education. So understanding your finance. So when someone asked us a question about investing in stocks, see, everything, there are people making money on everything they want to. There are people losing money on everything they're not aware of. So it's about you. It's about you. You have to, get on that, wear that shoes, try to understand these concepts, understand what mutual funds are, understand what SIP is, stuff like this, and understand when you start earning, say, final year students or third year students, even after an internship or your job, when you start earning, you have to understand what your salaries, pay slip means. You have to understand each and every component, because there are a lot of us, even in my company working for 30 years, have no clue what the salary slip says. It's very easy to, fill up an ITR, income tax return, but it's hard to understand what your salary slip says, because it's tricky. It's tricky. It needs patience. It's not that tricky also. It just needs patience. So yeah, spend on your financial education. Maybe give us money next time. I'm just kidding. This was a joke. Okay, sorry. So yeah, can we move to the next slide, Prachi? Great, guys. I'll just check if you have any more questions. How are pay later brands like Simple, etc. differ from credit card companies? Question by Mashaik. Mashaik, am I pronouncing your name right? Hi, Mashaik.
Yeah.
Great. So, Mashaik, they are kind of similar to credit cards, just online and virtual. And what happens is these companies like Simple, Lazy Pay work on the same mechanism, but they have different and easier percentage interest rates. So yeah, if you, I mean, I myself use Simple or Lazy Pay sometimes. So yeah, it's not that big a deal. It's good. It's cooler because the whole point is why it is better. Why I would say it's better than credit cards is because with credit cards there is no extent to anything. I mean, I had a Citi credit card and I could extend it to 10 lakhs. So, I mean, you understand, right? If there's an emergency, I would just say, okay, extend it to 10 lakhs and then I would go spending. But for Lazy Pay or Simple, there's always a limit of say to 1,000 or 5,000 according to different inputs that you've given them earlier. So yeah, that's again, considerably low. So yeah, you could go and spend on that. Seems fine. Seems logical. Now, the eighth question is, what type of mutual fund will you recommend for a start? Now, Manali, would you want? Okay. This is a very interesting answer. Mutual funds are subject to market risk. Please download Grow Basic or Kuvera. This is a very interesting answer by Smith. If anyone wants to add up upon something, say Manali, Prachi, Ruchika, guys, feel free. Yeah.
Okay, so I think. Hi, sorry, is my voice echoing?
No, Manali seems to be fine.
Okay, sorry. Seems like the problem was with me. So I think for mutual funds, for every person, it's quite different again, according to your goals, how many time, like the number of years you want to get invested for, so on. I'd recommend that if you want to accumulate your wealth, if you want to just put in some money and let it grow for the years, then I can say that if you are young, if you are again in the young age group, you can go for say an equity sort of a mutual fund, which kind of invests in blue chip or small chip or mid cap funds. Um, so you can try to of course also have other kind of funds, but I think an equity component will be more preferable for a person who is young and who has more risk to take and who wants to be invested for the long term. Of course, for the long term, a debt component is much better because there are a lot of short term fluctuations in equity. So, a debt mutual fund is always great. You can also go for a hybrid mutual fund, which is a combination of debt and equity mutual funds, right? Of course, I can take another session on mutual funds, but this is in broad gist, right? You can check out the funds and maybe, write to us on with our 2019@gmail.com and we can guide you through.
So interesting, guys. Manali is a CFA level 2. So whatever she's saying is well thought about. So you guys should really consider it. Apart from that, we also had two questions that were sent to us before. One of them was how to do a startup in Goa, how to incubate something in Goa. So we didn't touch mostly upon it because we thought that the first step of building something was to have a basic corpus for building something, say 50,000 or a lakh, depending on what you want to start. Apart from that, there are a lot of regulations because we ourselves had to file a lot of things, understand what kind of company we want to register, where do we want to apply, where do we want to work, where should our office be, what is the kind of investment we are looking forward going ahead. So there are a lot of things to consider. So yeah, if you guys are interested in knowing something like that, we can have another full session on it because it's intense. Starting up is itself a very big thing. So I'm not sure if we can cover it in just, we can mix it up with financial literacy. Apart from that, there was also a question on index fund, was it, Prachi?
Yeah. So there was a question. What can you repeat the question again, Satyam? I think it was around index fund and ETF and the comparison between it. So
Sorry to
basically,
interrupt you. It was a question by
please.
me.
Please go
Okay,
ahead.
please go ahead.
Okay. The thing is, now index funds, ETFs are getting popular, and the thing is that most of the large cap funds they can't beat the index. They just charge you expense, and if they can't beat the index or they just beat the index, but the expense eats up the alpha which is generated by the active mutual fund. So it is better to uh, pay less fees for ETFs and index fund rather than going for a actively manage mutual fund?
Yeah, that is very true for the very reason that you gave, because these are all index funds are again like mutual funds only. That is, you pool your money not in one stock but many diversified companies. And index is what? Index fund means that it is you get a share of the index NSE or BSE, which is made up of these shares or stocks. So again, you buy it directly and you do not need any fund manager for this. So again, it becomes easier and it is a direct investment, so it doesn't eats up your rate of return. And that is the whole which you correctly pointed out is the uh, direct investment plan that can go in an index fund or an ETF. So good way to go. Again, index fund is a very good way actually to start at this point of time. And I
Yeah,
will
right.
ask all of you to
Yeah.
explore more about it and write to us about it if you have any doubt upon it. Manali, you were saying something.
Sorry, I just wanted to add on that I think index fund and passively linked funds are great. But the point that you made about generating alpha, right? Maybe for this year, you can say that because the market tumbled, say 70-80%, the alpha wasn't, as opposed to say now the market is correcting and there's a lot of major recovery that you can see in the market, right? So you can say that the index funds have really shown that they are generating more. But I would personally recommend having of course, having some funds that track the Nifty and so on, having some passive funds, but also keeping more focus if you are young, if you are, again, want to be invested for long in active mutual funds. And then maybe we can go into detail later.
I had another question. Okay, the thing is, the analyst, which like for 2 years they recommend one mutual fund. After 3 years, they don't even talk about that mutual fund. Then next 2 years they recommend some other one, and then again they forget the one. So how to deal with this?
You're
So the thing
completely
is,
right. Yeah,
the
sorry.
thing is, see now compared to index, so see take Nippon large cap fund. It
Mhm.
was a good performing fund many years back, but now no one talks about. Now everyone wants Axis Blue Chip or maybe some other large cap fund. So how to tackle that problem?
So I think the question that you're asking is very, very significant and involves, say, another session. But if you want me to quickly go through, like in 2 minutes, quickly go through, of course, before selecting any mutual fund, there are a lot of factors that you need to consider. The fact that you're saying that, yeah, don't go by popularity of the fund. Everyone's investing in Axis Blue Chip. That doesn't mean that you have to go and invest in Axis Blue Chip. You have to understand the components in the fund, right? You have to understand the exit load, you have to understand the expense ratio, you have to understand if the fund is actually existing for, say, a 5-year, 10-year period, right? To even compare the returns, right? So I would say personally that of course you can go to an investment advisor and they will keep changing, because I mean, this is the thing, right now whatever is trending, for example, 2-3 months back pharma mutual funds were trending, right? And they generated, say, 70% return and so on. But now going forward, it's very risky to, like, even, put all your money in a pharma mutual fund, right? So it's always better to diversify, understand, and also understand the components composing the mutual fund. Okay, and then go ahead. So we can take another entire session on this if you want later. You can also write to us and we can specifically understand what kind of mutual fund you're looking at, why Nippon didn't work and Axis Blue Chip works, and so on. But this is a broad gist of the entire components you need to understand and look for before investing. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
And can I
Yes.
add
Thank you.
something to your point, Manali? And it's for everyone. Yeah, and before going for any kind of these analysis, what we iterated on in our 7 habits is define your goals first. Any mutual fund or any investment that you're going for, you will see its rate of growth. Analysts are there, we are there to help you. But what is your goal? And how many years do you want to achieve it? The calculator that Manali showed you in the previous slide, please use that. See how much do you need to spend per month to achieve that goal, of money in this amount of years, and then go for a particular mutual fund or an investment or an index fund or any kind of investment that you want to do. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we guys are done. So yeah, we are open for questions. You can just unmute yourself and ask us questions. Other than that, we are also open for any suggestions on how we could have done better. Also, the people who gave answers and were active and are looking out for goodie bags. So I have something better for you. So guys, I'll be based out of Bombay, and I'm currently in Darjeeling. So the offer that is extended to you both is that if you ever come to Bombay or Darjeeling, you can hit me up, and a lunch or a dinner is on me. So that's the goodie bag you get for participating. Yeah, done. Please unmute yourself if you want to speak something, and then you could talk to us.
I think if anyone has any specific questions, they can just write to us, right? Or follow us on LinkedIn. And we'll be more than happy to help individually anybody for any kind of their financial questions or troubles. We can also link you to resources. We can help you out, basically.
And anybody who has questions upon their entrepreneurial journey, you can ping us on that also. We will be happy to guide you through our journey of starting this initiative.
Also, Prachi, I think you are wrong. Wrong on. So you start when you started off this presentation, you said that we are kind of old, but we are not old. We are very young. These guys have not been participating any, like I've just seen like 3-4 people come in and participate. So we are very young, Prachi. These people are old. Guys, you need to start getting younger. Start participating, guys. Also, Ria, I think we are done. Do you have anything to conclude?
Yes.
Hi.
Someone will share the
Yeah.
screen, and we have a closing like speech or something. Yeah. And thank you so much, guys. Y'all were amazing. I am so happy that I approached you guys. It was really good. And yes, I will share the LinkedIn link on the chat also, so they can share. Also, guys, please wait up. There is a quiz session. So yeah.
Hi guys. Well, I haven't introduced myself yet. I am Vibha. I'm the president of the East chapter. Well, guys, thank you so much. It was an amazing session. Thank you so much, Satyam, Ruchika, Sneet, Prachi, and Manali. It was amazing. And I'm sure all of you guys had a great time. It was definitely a fun session. And I hope you guys have a better understanding of how finance works. Also, yeah. Uh, I request the speakers to kindly turn on their videos because we need to take a screenshot for documentation purpose. So guys, can you all please?
I think I'm here.
Hi.
Hello, Vibha. Vibha, I think yours video should also be on.
Well, I'm not that in a good state right now.
Who needs to be? It's all work from home or study from home.
Hi, Ria, even you can turn it on.
Hey, Vibha, you are looking beautiful. Don't say that.
Thank you.
Ria? I am not in a good state either to turn on my camera.
Look at me.
Who is? We are at home.
Okay, fine. Just give me a second.
And others also, whoever wants to join in, turn on their videos.
Sir, I can
Please.
see you. Please turn on your video. You're coming on my screen.
Yeah, come on, guys, please.
Satyam sir isn't there, I guess.
I love when you call me Sir, Vibha. Nobody call me Sir. Yeah, just kidding. So yeah,
Satyam,
so I am literally on a hill. So if I switch on my video, I am not sure if I will get disconnected or still be there.
Oh, okay. No problem. No problem. Sagar, do you want to come in? I can see you. Oh, I guess I'll just take a screenshot.
I'm not in a state of video.
That's okay.
Sagar, again, we are at home. We are all at home.
Sagar,
Okay.
man, I promised you goodies, man. Come on.
Okay, we're done, guys. Thank you.
Oh, I was looking at somewhere else. So
So make
sorry.
another one. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, Prachi.
yeah.
Wait a minute. Just one second. Yeah. Done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. It was wonderful talking to you guys. Next time, if you're any time there, we would love to talk to you more. We'll make it more interactive. I guess we'll also work on our presentation skills. And guys, you should eat something. Have your lunch, then come to and talk to us. Just kidding. Apart from that, any of you, Ruchika, Manali, Prachi, Smith, wants to say something? I'm done. Over and out.
I just want to say thanks to everyone for listening so patiently. I'm sure everyone takes home with them some sort of learning. I'm sure all of us who were presenting had also so much to learn from you guys, and this is how we grow. And really looking forward to connect with you all on LinkedIn, or you can, as they mentioned, you can always put us a mail, and yeah, hit us up, and we would like to talk to you.
Yeah, guys, we have 3 engineers and 2 finance people, and we are the right mix. If you have any queries of any kind, and you can come to us, and you can find us. I think GirlScript can share our LinkedIn page link, and you can hit us up, DM us on the Gmail ID. It was a great afternoon and now evening to talk to all of you. Over and out.
Okay, so we have come to the end of this event, and now there will be the quiz. The link is mentioned on the screen as well as in the chat box. Karthik, could you please change the slide? Yeah. The form will be open till 6 p.m. where you need to score 100% to be eligible for a merit certificate. Also, please do not forget to fill the feedback form mentioned in the chat box as well as on the screen. Thank you so much for attending and being a part of today's session. All the very best for the quiz. Thank you, guys.
I'll also like to mention that so we have, through GirlScript, we have something called as a GS Cup. It is a community-based event that will promote and encourage students who have contributed to any community. So it will be awarded to the students who will score the maximum number of points according to the guidelines and contributions he and she has given to the community. So for more information with respect to the GS Cup, you all can visit girlscript.tech. And yeah, I've mentioned the quiz link in the chat box. You guys have around like 45 minutes. You all can just answer. All the best. And thank you so much to the speakers for the amazing session. And yeah, that's all from my side.